Here's a question. Would you let someone implant a microchip into your hand if you would receive $2,000 a month? A month in return for getting a chip put in your hand. You heard me right. We'll give you universal basic income, basically. 2,000 euros, $2,000 a month if you allow us to put a microchip in your hand. That's exactly what's about to happen as part of the rollout of the central bank digital currencies. That's a carrot for them to rope you into this mess. We'll get to that part of the story in a minute, the chip implantation process, not the corn chip, as Dan said in our chat, but a actual metallic tracking chip. But a new report just published this week by the Bank for International Settlements explains how our new digital money system is about to work. We've been warning you that this was coming for a long time on this show. Also, we weren't the only ones predicting this. It was predicted in a little book, you might have heard of it, called The Bible, The Mark of the Beast. For one thing, this is how this new system would operate. According to them, the Bank for International Settlements, the new reserve currency, forget the dollar as you know it, basically. This will be the new reserve currency, which is how they want to label it and how they are labeling it. This would be used to settle all transactions. As everyone moves away from the U.S. dollar right now, this seems like perfect timing to be moving to this new system. So are they purposefully torpedoing the U.S. dollar in preparation for a global new reserve currency? One might wonder, right? We don't believe in conspiracy theories around here, but you have to wonder. It could include the confiscation of all property, physical property. By assigning it, every item would receive every real world item would receive its own unique digital token. So what do you guys think about this, right? This idea that they could, I'm not saying they're going to, but your car, your house, all of these sort of physical items that need a token process, you have to get them digitally tokenized in order for you to claim ownership of these items. No more selling cars without a digital token, right? No black market of selling cars. They all have to be tokenized. They all have to have a digital tracking ID to know exactly who owns them through this, what they call this transparent process.
So it's like a blockchain for the world.
Right. I mean, it would be on the blockchain, right? Everyone would be given a tokenized digital ID. And I'll explain more about exactly the tokenization process in a moment. But basically, the idea that if you don't comply with this, then we're going to take your property and tokenize it ourselves is the idea. And they won't come out and say this, but that's exactly what some people are worried about, is that they would take your items, they would take your physical property and do it for you, or confiscate it altogether if you're not willing to comply. And think of it like contraband. It would be considered contraband. Imagine trying to go through the airport or airport security with that laptop that you didn't have tokenized, so there's no digital footprint of it. Oh, what is that? What is that item that you're carrying there? Why do you have that there? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't have it registered with the government. I don't have a digital ID for that item? No worry, we'll take it off your hands. So your digital wallet, your car, your house, your laptop, your phone, all of it assigned a digital token. Inside those tokens would be a set of rules for how each item can and cannot be used, so that each person can be controlled and conditioned directly by the central bank. You've used your digital wallet to buy your allotment of beef or chicken this month, you're cut off. You're cut off. Your wallet is not limited. Your wallet is now limited until next month. And by the way, you think this is like a conspiracy theory. The Federal Reserve, literally on their website, loves and talks about the benefits of expiring currency, the expiration of currency. And hey, China's already doing it in part. So there's already limitations and expiration of currency. We already have this. And the Fed is openly talking about this on their website. Think this is a dream? Okay, just wait until it happens. Let's actually let them describe. So here is, after this Bank of International Settlements rolled this out last week, here is their tokenization process in their own words. Just watch sort of let me know if you think that this is creepy in any way. Watch.
Tokenization is more than just a digital representation of money and assets. It involves digital representation on a programmable platform, which means that tokens can incorporate the rules and logic governing transfers, as well as the information about the asset itself. Now, currently, money and other claims reside in separate databases that are connected through third-party messaging systems, meaning that transactions need to be reconciled separately before being settled with finality. Tokenization makes all this one seamless operation. Tokenization is well suited to resolve incentive and information problems. Think of an example where a buyer would like to pay when the goods are delivered, while the seller would like to deliver the goods when the buyer pays. Tokenization can solve this problem by executing both transactions at the same time.
So
two real-world applications.
So they talk about this. They talk about this tokenization as solving these problems, right? It involves the representing the ownership rights of real-world assets as digital tokens on a blockchain. In other words, you own a car, and that's confirmed because there's a digital token saying you do, and it's confirmed on the blockchain. You wouldn't need to go do title searches and all of your antiquated things like that when selling your car. It's already on the blockchain and confirmed that you own it. It's a digital certificate of authenticity. They'll sell it to us as a way to speed up the banking process, as he was just doing, as Huixin was just doing. Right now, there are 10 steps in order to wire money to someone. It's long, especially if you're not using your bank. Like if you're, doing a wire from like Bank of America to PNC Bank, there are multiple steps. Each bank needs to verify that you are, in fact, sending the money. They need to basically send a request. So now tokenization and CBDCs would wire money that can do this in one step, one verification process instead of 10 steps. So it sounds great. That's how they will sell it to us. It's easy. It's faster. But what if government controls the blockchain? And what if the main currency is a central bank digital currency run by the Fed? And you want to use Bitcoin? You want to use Dogecoin? You want to use cash? Sorry, that's outlawed now. You can't do that. Oh, you're using this illegal currency? Sorry, you're going to jail. We already see the move towards trying to get rid of digital currency that's not run by the federal government. They don't like Bitcoin. They absolutely don't like a lot of these other cryptocurrencies. Sorry, that's outlawed. You need to use America's digital currency or the EU's digital currency. That is controlled by a central power. You don't need to imagine it because it's already happening. But more importantly, it's all about the control. Buried towards the end of this report is this nugget on who would control these transactions. And again, this is why no one's covering this story, because it's nuanced and it takes time to explain this all. So you're just going to wind up one day with this thing in your wallet, a digital wallet, and no one's going to explain this to you. In this report, buried deep in this, like 40 pages deep, I stumbled across this. The governance section of a unified ledger could follow existing arrangements whereby central banks and regulated private participants take part in governance under established rules. For example, when money and payments are involved in a ledger, the central bank will necessarily play a role as the provider of the ultimate settlement asset. Its specific involvement in governance arrangements could take various forms, much as it does in the case of traditional payment systems, where public ownership, regulation, and oversight, as well as private mutual ownership, are viable options. So, in other words, the Fed will play a necessary role as the provider and the ultimate settlement decider in these transactions. So the central bank, of course, will control these transactions. And it means that it represents trillions of dollars in potential transactions of these governments. They stand to make a lot of money. And according to the report released just recently by the Global Financial Markets Association, this is the Boston Consulting Group and others, estimate as part of this report, look here on your screen, the value of tokenized illiquid assets will increase from roughly $0.3 trillion in 2022 to $16 trillion in transactions by 2030. That in 7 more years, we will jump up by almost $15.5 trillion in additional settlements. Richard Werner is an economist who is a World Economic Forum insider. Think of him as a whistleblower against these globalists. He was chosen by Klaus Schwab at the time as a global leader. Here he explains how the CBDC, or central bank digital currency, will start off on our phones as an app, but then move to something far more nefarious. An implant in your hand. Yes, a chip in your hand. Listen.
And what people don't mention is, what do these CBDCs actually look like?